Had some technical difficulties there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Brian's iPhone was hacked by the Chinese. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're probably the government, you know? They're probably like, hey, fucking, these guys, they know that we're fucking a bunch of assholes. It's like, yep, you're right. Like, fuck.
They're going against the programming. They're going against the matrix. Shut them down.
They're all fucking, fuck this podcast, fuck them. I'm like, yeah, well, fuck you guys.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, man. What's funny is that we're talking about this stuff, and I realize the more we talk about different shit, the more it all is related.
The way it all comes through, right? It all, like, it
Yeah,
all makes.
it's just like you're talking about society, like troubled kids, relationships, fucking government, fucking all this crazy shit that's going on in the world, like all these scare tactics of the eclipse and like the solar storm and all this other fucking shit. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, shit.
they're like fucking P Diddy's on the run from Department of Homeland Security and all this other shit. You know,
Oh my god.
you heard of? Did you hear about that?
No. What happened with that?
He's fucking I guess he ran away from the United States because he was getting chased by the feds because he was getting investigated for sex crimes and shit and human trafficking.
Hmm.
So,
Okay.
but actually, I was talking about this earlier, and it's like everything, like we talked about this before too. Like everything is starting to just like fall apart, but for the better, I think.
Well, it's like I said, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn, right? I mean, that's that old school fucking saying and belief, and I believe that. I believe it's always darkest before the dawn. I believe that fucking everything is about to come to a fucking to fruition, to a head, right? And why do you think all the bullshit in the government is fucking like falling apart? You
I
know?
know. You like look at our quote unquote leadership that we have, and you're like, how the fuck did we get to this point? You know?
Yes. I'm like, have this old guy that's fucking near death, fucking, you know, leading us. Like, supposedly he's our leader. Like, this motherfucker can barely even fucking like he shits on himself. I mean, like, come on, really? Like, what the fuck? Like, really? Come on now.
Dude, he talks. All he does is talk about fucking ice cream and falls down the stairs. You know, like
Oh my god, that's what I'm saying. It's like, what the fuck? And it's like, dude, it's like people gotta fucking like just laugh at this shit and be like, what the fuck is going? It's like a comedy show. Like sincerely. Like fucking like in our government, in our fucking like in our country, it looks like a comedy show.
it's
You wonder why
yeah.
the fucking you wonder why the Asians are like, ha, what a bunch of fucking retards. Sorry, because fucking look at us, you know? I mean, like, fuck, dude. I mean, sorry. Lack of better words. Sorry, guys.
You
But
know, this is America. We have freedom of speech. Fuck them.
do
Um,
we? Do we though?
I mean, no, not really, because we can get censored. But it's just
Mm.
like everything we're talking about, like just the whole concept of the whole system with like what you said with college as a business and all this other shit. It's like everything in the United States is a fucking business, like pharmaceutical, education, fucking medical, fucking everything is just like it's just fucked. It's
It's
just
all
fucked.
the fucking business. I'm like, what the fuck? How is it that we fucking live in the fucking everything we do is a business? Like that's 110% horseshit, you know? I'm like, dude, come on now. And everything we do is like fucking it's a fucking business. Like
Well, that's
you,
dude. We live in like a fake world.
I know.
Like I had this conversation earlier. I'm like, we're not supposed to like we've talked about this before. Like humans, like when I told you I was giving the class to the students earlier, and I said humans are not designed to sit all day and look at screens, right?
Shit. Yeah.
But like that's how our whole society is structured. It's like, all right, we're supposed to be reliant on this system. We're supposed to fucking follow in line. Like we talked about in the last podcast about they want us just smart enough to run the machines, but too dumb to ask any questions. And it's like it's slowly starting to like. Actually, I would argue it's rapidly starting to
One,
show itself. You know.
yeah, yeah. It's rapidly falling apart, rapidly, and that's why I said, like, fucking Rome wasn't built in a day, and it didn't fucking crumble in a day, but it crumbled. That's the United States now. It's like all of a sudden our shit's fucking crumbling, and people are just like, "What the fuck's going on?" It's like, yeah, bitch, like this shit's crumbling because it's all built off bullshit. You know, I'm like, this fucking country is built off bullshit, and I'm like, come on, really? Come on now, you know. But I'm ready, but I'm happy for it though. Like I tell people, I'm like, dude, People are like, oh my god, it's like such a fucking mess, and I'm like, dude, let that shit be a mess. Let this shit fucking fall apart. You know?
Well, that's a part of the awakening we were talking about, where more people are just waking up to the bullshit. You know, it's just like at the end of the day, you got to look around and be like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, I had this conversation earlier with somebody. I'm like, we're not supposed to be fucking in these boxes, fucking looking at a screen and like just buying artificial food off a shelf. We're supposed to be living in nature. We're supposed to
Yep.
be one with the world that we're in.
Yes.
But
Absolutely.
we spent the last fucking 1,000 years separating ourselves from what our natural inclinations are, and then what does it do? We just become robotic and like systematic in the sake of making things easier, but at the same time it takes away what we truly are.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're cutting off who we are and what we were built to be. You know? And that's why I say it's like fucking like I'm all about being natural, being outside, being connected to the fucking universe. You know?
Yeah. We were watching. You ever seen the Avatar movie? Not the Avatar, the Airbender shit, but the fucking alien one where they're like, it's a new world and humans are trying to like. It's basically a metaphor for like modern day because the humans go to this planet and there's like this species that lives there and they're like one with the planet and they believe in energy and everything and all this other shit and they're very like they have like a sacred tree and all this shit, and then the humans are coming in to fucking rip up their sacred tree and mine this fucking element that they can make millions of dollars off of, And it's just like, wow, if that's not a fucking metaphor for now, like that's what we do. We've created a civilization that's based off of material only.
You know, it's funny, yeah, 100%. And what's funny is they fucking I hear Robert Grant talk about a lot of shit, and he talks about how um where we are gravitating away from the material aspect of life and going toward the mental and spiritual aspect of life. You know, and so yeah, I mean, I think it, I believe it. I mean, like, dude, it's kind of crazy because I always tell people like, how many people do you see that are fucking like, according to the world, they're like fucking, they're living a great life. Like, oh my god, I have fucking $1 billion in the bank, blah blah. But I want to fucking kill myself tomorrow, bitch. What are you looking at then? Because you're not living life the way you were intended to live.
Yeah, and it's just, man, it's just everything is just like it's just what we talk about all the time. I feel like we were put here or we created this also because we're put here in this time now to help people awaken to
Yeah,
like be like, oh, maybe this is all bullshit.
yeah,
Like I'll see people, I'll be driving to work or something, and I work, I have a job. Yes, I'm one of the fucking slaves, whatever you want to call it. But fucking, um, I'll see people who are less fortunate than me, and they're working at like fucking Food Lion or a grocery store or something, and I feel bad for them because I'm like, they're just trying to play the fucking hand they've been dealt. And
And they're
it's like
playing.
so many people aren't given the chance to flourish just because they're programmed to allow their circumstances to control them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And they're playing the game. They're playing the game, and they don't know it. I mean, like, they don't know that they're like in a fucking matrix. They're in a game,
Yeah,
right?
actually, oh, man, every day I'm just like, are we really in a fucking matrix? Like I try to imagine what it would be like to like quote unquote wake up from it and be like, it's almost like you're looking at the world from an outside perspective and you're like, oh, there's this all this other underlying shit that's like controlling us, that's like beyond our comprehension. You ever think
Yeah,
about shit like that?
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, but we have the right, or I guess the free. I guess you can say free will to change it, right?
Free
And that's
will. That's a good point. A lot of people, you know what? I guess there could be an argument made that that's what's been beaten out of us as a civilization, as a society, is that, oh, you can't have free will because you'll go against the status quo and fucking that's dangerous. You know who it's dangerous to? It's dangerous to the motherfuckers who are in control.
yeah.
So I'm just like this is all happening for a reason though.
No, it is. But I mean, I don't know. I think there's people like you and I, and a channel like this, and things that we do to try to get people to question it, right? I mean, like, dude, I mean, my whole life I've questioned, like, why the fuck, why do I have to do it that way? Like, that doesn't make sense, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I've always questioned things, and I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. This is stupid, And yeah, I
It's
think
just like
that
no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I think it takes more people like us to be like, hey, is this actually fucking reality, truth, or are we following what we were told?
I mean, I've been thinking a lot about the concept of how much of our history has been a lie.
Oh, jeez, dude. So listen, I watched and read into and this whole like documentary, and um read into it, and they were saying how our history books, the majority of them are bullshit, right? But they said that they don't want to fucking have to take the time to re fucking write all of them. I'm like, so you're teaching our kids a bunch of horse shit to fucking just because you don't want to fucking rewrite the books. Fuck you. You know what I mean? Fuck you. I want my kids to know the truth. And it's not this shit. It's not the shit we were taught. You know? Like that's horseshit, dude. It's like it's so stupid. I'm like, no. Like I'm gonna teach my kids the absolute truth. Like fucking like, hey, the shit you're teaching. This is okay. This is the deal. Here we go. My mom was a teacher. I love my mom. I'm like, but you know that this shit's all fucking, and she now knows. She's like, yeah, a lot of it's wrong. I'm like, that's the point. So do you think I care if this fucking stupid fuck over here gives my kid a D because he doesn't fucking believe that shit's real? Because it's not real, you know? Yeah, it's just not real. Like it's, dude, I'm telling you, it's horseshit. Like this our school system is bullshit. And that's the thing, is like, going into the position I have now, teaching these kids and training these kids, and I'm like, oh my god, like, I can't wait to teach you guys fucking exactly what you need to know, you know?
Yeah, because if you like, me and my wife have actually talked about this with our son, and it's like he's 7 and he's talking about he's already like we don't talk to him really about any of this stuff. Except my wife did say she does talk to him about God sometimes. But like the fact that he like is so perceptive to it is kind of like not something I would expect from a kid,
Yeah,
you know? So he's like, "Oh, that's energy or that's God or blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Holy shit, you're 7." Like
that's
no one
wonderful.
no
Yeah.
like so it actually gives me hope because I'm like, "Damn, where is he going to be when he's my age?" You know?
Yeah, no shit. And that's exactly what I was talking to the coaches that I was with the school with at the school today. I said, imagine if we were taught like, meditation and internal fucking like mindfulness and all these things, and they're like, oh my god, like yeah, I wasn't taught that. It's like no shit. Or like, and that's what I'm gonna teach these kids, and I don't give a fuck what they tell me. I don't give a flying fuck what they tell me I'm supposed to not do and do. Yeah, they can they can suck a dick. Sorry, fucking sorry again. For lack of better terms. I'm just like, no, because I'm like, dude, like fucking I teach these kids how to fucking like really like grow and expand. Shit.
Not only
Imagine,
that, not only that, but actually teach them to live life.
yeah, yeah,
Because like all this shit is put like ever from the moment we're born, like all this shit is just downloaded onto us. Like, oh, you got to do the shit this way. You can do this. You can't do
yeah,
that. Fucking blah blah blah. And it's like your
yeah,
whole life you're just led down this path that you didn't even choose, like we were
yes.
talking about earlier. And it's
And
like
then
just let people be people, and fucking see how society could flourish that way.
I was talking to one of the coaches earlier about like, us like with our inner child and using our imagination, right? What are we told? Stop fucking daydreaming. Stop imagining. The fuck are you talking about? Stop a daydreaming, bitch. I want to see myself fucking being this goddamn God knows what thing, fucking, and it's all of a sudden, it's like fucking all of a sudden I'm told, like, no, don't use your imagination. What the fuck are you talking about? Fuck yeah. Go and imagine that shit. Go and visualize that shit every day.
Dude,
And
it's just like we talked about in business, where I'm like, oh, I'm doing these things, and they're like, oh, what are we gonna get out of it? It's
yeah,
like that's the fucking problem, is that you're just so focused on material bullshit or what you've been taught and what you're programmed that you don't have any faith, or you can't even, you're so blinded by your own bullshit that you can't even see what the potential of something could be because you have limited beliefs.
yeah. Because you're told that this is the way it should go.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of like you and I talked about, like with like a with a business model, I guess you could say. Oh, this is the way it's supposed to be. Like, imagine if you just let those people, even if they buy into your business, right? But imagine if they use their fucking like imagination, like what they would do. Holy shit, it's amazing.
Yeah, like how far, like we're talking about in the last one, leadership. It's like help facilitate that environment where people are allowed to be creative,
Yeah,
because someone's going to think of something that you're not going to think of. And that's a beautiful thing because it could fucking take your shit to a whole nother level that you never would have imagined.
yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, where did this go? But see, that's the problem though. That's where you're ran by ego. See, and that's why I tell people, fuck your ego, because your ego is gonna fucking put you in a hole and you're gonna be stuck there. No, I'd rather let people come into my business and be like, hey, God knows what I can do with it. Like, yeah, hell yeah, do what you want to do.
Yeah, it's just that's the thing. Like when I was talking to the students earlier, and I said like what you think you become is what I said, and it's like whether you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, then you can't. You're right. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
like a lot of like we were talking about troubled youth, a lot of that is they have all these preconceived notions of fucking, like you said, how to do things. And it's like, take a step back, evaluate yourself, evaluate what's going on around you, and fucking make a plan. And even if it's different from the person who has the title's plan, maybe it's a better fucking option. You know
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean?
yeah, no shit. That's like I said. That's like that kid I had today. Same shit. I was like, when he said that his dad pretty much showed him what he was doing. And I told him, I said, "Do you want to do that really?" And he's like, "No." I said, "Okay, cool. Let's go. Let's do something different." Just kind of gave him a whole different fucking trajectory, just to fucking like build life, man, the way you want to build it, you know. And he was like, "Damn." He's like, and he saw it. And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you coming back here?" And I was like, "Well," I said, "I'll probably come back to coach once in a while." I said, "But I'm gonna be in some other schools." And he was, but he was looking forward to that.
Well, think about it, man. Like, think about even just you and me, like the shit that we've been through in our lives. Like, if we would have just listened to everyone else that told us what we should be doing, we never would have been at this point right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh, you shouldn't do this because then this could happen, or like, because like a lot of people have a fear-based belief system,
Oh yeah.
or they're like, oh, well, we need something solid so that we can fucking live life, and it's like, yeah, but you're gonna be miserable. Or you could take a risk and do something that nobody else is doing and fucking change the world, you
Well,
know?
my thing, yeah, absolutely. My thing is like I tell people, I tell my kids, I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, fucking, someone told you to go follow this fucking path. You're miserable as fuck, and you're doing that shit for the rest of your like for 40 years of your life, like and that's what I'm saying. Like I talk about like I think maybe I told you this, or maybe I brought it up on our podcast, but one of my best friends. I mean, like we became paramedics together very young. He's older than me by 2 3 years, but we were in the same medic class and we became paramedics and did all that shit and whatever. He works for a fire department and he's been there for shit, I don't know, 15 years now. Um, but according to him, he has like another fucking like 15 20 years to retire and he hates it. And I'm like, so you're gonna fucking literally stay in this stupid fucking job for that long, you know? And he's like, "No, I know." And I'm just like, "Bro, like, I love you, but come on, man." And I told him, I said, "I would rather not know what the fuck I'm gonna do than fucking be in that shit that I hate every day. Every time I fucking get on duty, I'm like, fuck." Like I told him, I said, look at those last, 2 3 years I was a medic. I said, fucking, I hated it, dude. Every time I got on duty, I was like, fuck. Here we go. Here
Well,
we
that,
go.
dude, that's the thing, man. That's actually a very good point that you just made, because once you start to lose the interest or the passion in something that you've been doing for so long, that's when you know it's time to fucking leave.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, for me, for example, when you know, I was of the mind of I was going to be in the army 20 years, right? But I got out at 11 and a half, not really by my own choice because of medical shit, but
In the universe, I got you out.
yeah, because I was seeing shit that was going on. There was these changes I didn't agree with, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, I started not to give a fuck, and I was like, what the fuck is going on with this shit right now? You know, like politicizing the military, fucking all this dumb shit, and I'm like, this is not what the military is for. I don't agree with this shit. Or even with COVID, like I told you, I was gonna be one of those dudes who's like, yeah, I'm getting kicked out because I didn't get the shot. But luckily, the universe was like, nah, you're gonna be fine. So fucking, but that's the thing, man. It's like, it just goes back to people not being able to think for themselves.
No shit.
And
Yep.
just like, when your intuition is telling you something's fucked up, don't do it. You know what I mean? So even if you're in a career for 40 years and you're like, fuck, I hate my life, leave. Fucking
No,
go.
yes.
Make a
Yes.
change in your life.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to take that leap of faith.
And it's fucking uncomfortable.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's like
It-
it's a bad feeling at first.
yep. It's so uncomfortable. Because, like I said, when I left being a medic, I mean, I've been doing it for so long. And when I walked away from it, I was like, oh, the fuck am I doing? Like, good, good one, dum dum. Like, fucking, what are you doing? And everybody was like, "Oh my god, you're fucking good at this job. This is your shit," and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, "Yeah, I know. Yeah, all right, cool." And I fucking walked away. I walked away with honestly with no fucking clear direction. And I started fucking, and then I went into starting to do physical training, like personal training shit. And I was like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Okay," like, and yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, no, there was no security, but like I tell people, it's not about security. This life is not about security. We think it is. That's the human mind.
You know what security is? Security and safety is a fucking illusion.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Yep. Yep.
You could have everything planned out, you could have all the safety measures in place and still things could go to shit.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Fuck yeah. Everything fucking crumbles, and then all of a sudden you're like, fuck, what happened? Duh. It's like, because you're not supposed to be there, And, what's kind of crazy is like, as I've grown spiritually, um, and I've continued to fucking like move into, all these different areas of my life. It's kind of crazy. I hear people tell their stories, and I'm like, holy shit. Majority of the people that actually end up where they're supposed to be, like, they went through some really shitty fucking times.
Dude, yeah, most people who find their purpose end up first, they end up having shit fall completely apart.
Everything, yeah, everything crashes. Yep,
That's actually the most common characteristic of what I've heard from every single successful person.
yep,
Is it's like, oh, I was on this path, I needed to do this, I knew it, I didn't know how it was going to work. But at the same time, they never gave up either on what their true dream was. And they're just like, my life went to shit. And then or usually when you go through suffering and you get on the other side of it, like we talked about in the shadow work episode, and it's like, once you get on the other side, you're like, oh, fuck, all right, let's go, because it's just like things are more clear, you
yeah.
know?
And I think it's supposed to be that way, right? I mean, if your life is so like fucking just flowing every moment, like, good luck. Good fucking luck, dude. Because you're literally not fucking doing what you're here put here to do. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I think that every single one of us that fucking in well, all of us are on our path, but like when you end up in that one moment where you're just like, holy shit, like fucking like I ended up fucking like I love this. This is what I'm doing. It's like you're like, holy shit, but I had a fucking shitty situation that got me there. Well, in our
Mhm.
human mind, you know?
Yeah, it's usually after the fact that we realize, like, oh, in
Yeah.
hindsight, it was shitty at the time, but it was overall for the greater good. Because, like we talked about when you do like prayer or you manifest, like shit's not gonna happen the way in the timeline that you want it to. It's gonna happen when it needs to happen.
Yeah.
It's just like when I talked about the concept of prayer. It's like, oh, I asked for love and God gave me troubled people to help, or I asked for strength and God gave me difficulties to overcome. It's like, yeah, that's exactly how life is supposed to be. Is for you to learn so that you can level up and get to that higher level of attainment of what, and at the same time probably find your greater purpose. Because like I said to you, I think I told you before, I used to think when I was younger, like, oh, my ultimate purpose is to serve my country, right? And now, fast forward to now, I'm like, oh well, yeah, that's still a part of me, but there's an even greater purpose to my life, which is what we talked about. Is the whole reason why we made this podcast too, is because everything that you and I have been through in our lives, we're like, you know what? Maybe this is the fucking thing that we're meant to do is help people, awaken people, even if it only helps one person, even if only one person, we get one view, whatever, it doesn't matter to us, right? If we just help,
No.
if we can help one person like learn from what we're saying from our experiences, then that's work done. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing is like, fucking like, a lot of people do these things and they do it with fucking the intent of um how many views they have. Dude, like you said, if we fucking hit one person and they fucking like redirect their whole life because they're just like, fuck, I just need to hear that. Like that's it. That's perfect. You know?
It
And
just it goes back to what we're talking about with like specifically young men when they're searching for that mentor, like or like you were saying, working with those kids in the school. You just doing that and talking to them like that could change the whole trajectory of their fucking life.
yeah, absolutely. No, seriously. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, those kids, like the two boys that I worked with a bunch of, but the two boys that I had the most connection with today, you can tell, like when they were leaving, like the gym, like they didn't, they were like kind of like lagging back, hanging out with me, and I'm like, well, there's a point, you know, that's a fucking point. So, yeah, absolutely, man,
Because
absolutely. That's what I say. It's kind of crazy because, like, I think about how everything we do has a purpose. Everything we say has a purpose. No matter what we think or we see, like fucking on this stupid platform, like but I say that I say stupid platform because people are just like, what? How many likes do you have? Like, who cares? Like, fuck, dude. Imagine if we just hit that one fucking like that one person, that one situation, you know?
to help, yeah, help people put stuff in perspective in their own life and change things for the better. Even if it's just one person, because you have to think about it. Even if it's just one person, that one person, how many lives are they going to change?
No shit. Yep.
It's a butterfly effect, you know.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
It's like when you drop a stone. It's like when you drop a stone in the water, and it has that ripple effect. Same
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. Because you don't know that one situation that we said or we did or we did, whatever, what it did, who it impacted, you know?
Yeah, like when we talk about our past, or like when I talk about my struggles with alcohol and shit. It's like even if maybe someone's going through that right now, and they're like, oh shit, fucking, this is how this dude fucking overcame it, or this is how maybe I can look at this in a different way than just like, oh fuck, my life sucks.
Absolutely. That's what Danny, the guy that I coach with, that's what we were talking about today. He said, he goes, it's crazy how like our story, like one of our stories could change somebody's whole trajectory. Because like you just said right now, we often we think that it's just us going through this.
Hmm.
Isn't it amazing about how we think like, oh, it's just me. Fuck, my life's so fucked up. No, dude, there's fucking millions of people going through your same shit. You
Yeah,
know?
but we get, but that's the thing is we get so wrapped up in our own shit that we feel lonely and we can't talk to anybody and fucking like we're alone. It's like you're never alone.
No,
Even
fuck,
even if you are physically alone, technically you're not alone.
never alone. Never, dude. Never. And that's the whole thing. And
But that's the
I'll
spiritual side of it too.
as I was gonna say, I'll take that down to the spiritual aspect of it. I was like, literally, you're never by yourself. Like you have angels, you have guides, you have all the spiritual mentors around you. Whether you because we don't see them in the human aspect, but they're there. They're there, and I love it. Like I love when I look at my life and I'm like, man, sometimes it seems like this is like challenging or whatever, but I know that I have spiritual mentors just by my side, like, hey, I got you, man. You know, I love it. It's so beautiful because, like I said, it can seem very lonely in this human aspect. You know that too. I mean, it can seem like that. So
Yeah, like when you get into that dark pit of fucking bullshit and you're just like, how am I gonna climb out of this? But then if you just kind of like keep working, keep chopping away, eventually you'll get out of there. It might not
yeah.
seem like it. You're gonna feel like you're never gonna get out of it, but eventually you will. You know?
Well, and I think that I mean, I think a lot of people. I think the people that end up like committing suicide are the ones that they think that it's just like fucking like this is it. Like I'm by myself. This is all I got. You
And
know.
like we said, imagine if that's why like you talk about like we're all here to not judge anybody and love each other. Like imagine if they had somebody to actually confide in, to trust, that could have changed that scenario. You
That's
know?
what I try. To give everybody. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I try to give everybody. I'm like, hey, like fucking come to me and talk to me, and it doesn't matter what you got. Doesn't matter what you did, what you have. Like, just talk to me because I know we all need a fucking spot. You know,
Yeah.
we all need a place, man.
That's why it's important, like even in our everyday lives, to be nice to people because even your one act of kindness, even though it could be something as simple as saying, "Hey, how's your day going?" Whatever, that could change that whole person's perspective for the day. Like, oh, I was in this fucking rut,
Yep.
and I lost faith in people, or like I thought I was alone, and then this one random guy at fucking Home Depot was like, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" And
Yeah.
just that's why we talk about like being genuine and authentic is important.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure. And taking that time. I mean, being present, right? Being present is the fucking biggest thing I tell people all the time. Like, be present. People ask me like, "What do you mean be present?" I'm like, "Fucking slow down enough to fucking like be in this moment and be like, hey, how are you?' Like, don't just say how are you and walk away. Like, how are you? And then wait for their response, right? Because you could have that person that's like, fuck, I'm fucking like miserable. You know? Oh shit, why? What happened? And then you just talk to them. It's like, and I tell people, like, how often do you just fucking walk by somebody? You're like, how are you? Oh, and you keep going. And you don't even hear their fucking response. You don't even know what the fuck they said. Because
Yeah,
you're
because
just,
a lot of times something like that is like passive.
yeah,
It's like, oh, hey, how are you? Good, bye.
yeah,
Because you either don't know the person or you're just focused on your own shit. Because that's another thing is, like I say all the time, we're all so busy with our own shit and what we're supposed to be doing that we never pause and reflect, or like we never pause and take the time, like you're saying, to like actually talk to someone.
yeah. Because you think about like our, yeah, our busyness, how, like at the end of the day, at the bigger scheme of things, how important is most of our busyness? It's really not that important. It's fucking really not that important, you know?
Yep. Like with that email from work, that phone call from work can wait. They'll be there
Yeah,
tomorrow. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you might not be here tomorrow, so live in the moment.
yeah. And that person that you just saw at the coffee shop may have needed you just to be like, "Hey, how are you?" Like literally, how are you? And just wait. Like, fuck, I'm struggling. Like, I want to kill myself. Fuck. Okay, let's talk. You don't know that. And I tell people like all the time, like you just don't fucking know that, man. And so many people are struggling with these things, and that's why they say we have this epidemic of fucking of mental health. I'm like, well, then that how do we deal with it? Then we all come together and say, let me slow down and talk to you. Like, let me show you I care. Fuck, let's go sit down at my house. Let's go fucking to the park. Let's go whatever. you know
Yeah, I think that's an important message to put out because, like we talk about, like we're programmed. We're or actually, as fucked up as this is gonna sound, we are basically programmed to judge people.
yeah,
And it's like we talked about in another episode. It's like kids, for example, they come into the world basically like pure. right? They have
Mm-hmm.
no preconceived notions. They're not judging people. They're playing with everybody, right? They're just like, oh, I'm so happy, I'm playing, blah, blah, blah. And like, then we grow
Yeah.
up and we're like, oh, I'm not going to hang out with this person or that person because they're different from me. And it's like, that's the fucking point. Everyone's different, so you can all learn from each other.
No shit. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I say. It's like fucking like it's weird. Not weird, but like, I think about like when I was young and um, I was raised by my family with their own prejudged bullshit. But it was funny because that's my mom used to always say. She goes, you were always different. She goes, you love everybody. She goes, you always loved everybody. I was like, I still do. And she goes, I know you do. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. Like what you want to like. Fucking do what you want to do. Fuck, I don't give a fuck. Fucking, you want to fucking eat bananas every day. I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck. Like do
You
what
want
you
to fuel your monkey mind.
Yeah, yeah, like I fucking love everybody because I always have. And I've always chosen to enjoy the differences of people. Um, and then like I said, you know, and now shit. Now I look at life now and I look at people and I'm like, gosh, damn, like what are they struggling with? You know? Even when people are like someone could come up to me and be like, hey, you dumb motherfucker, I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, what the fuck are you struggling with? Like something's going on inside of you. Something's going on. It has nothing to do with me, you know? So I
Yeah, I
look at
mean,
people and I'm just like, I'm like, what are you going through, man? Like you're going through some shit because the only reason you attack me is because you're struggling, you know?
and that goes back to the what we're talking about with the youth, like all these young people who want to fight and do dumb shit. You know, it's
Yeah.
because it's because they're dealing with shit that they don't have an outlet for, or they never talk to anybody about it, or they suppress it, and then it's just like they're projecting that shit on the other people. You know, even though
And
could have
and
nothing to
no
do with anybody else.
and no one gives them a ground to do it.
Yeah, so I think it's important to allow, especially well for anybody, but especially for young people, like give them a chance to just like talk about shit. Give them a chance to have an open ground where it's like, hey, because like we said, especially as a parent and a parent to a kid, there's that little fear of like, oh, I'm going to get in trouble, blah blah blah. But like what you said with your kids, it's like let them talk. Give them that trusted source to actually give them some wisdom instead of just like, oh, you did this, you're fucking punished or you're grounded. You know?
Well, think about that. I mean, we were talking about that earlier before we were on camera, and um, I think as parents, I think we're conditioned to believe that we're supposed to be disciplinarians all the time, right? Um, and I get it, like you know, kind of hand and set boundaries for your children. But like I tell people, I'm like, my kids, they know number one, like they do have boundaries with me, but two, they can come to me and talk to me about anything and everything. And you're not going to get me, like, I'm not going to look at you and be like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, because that's the thing is like we're all gonna go through shit. Like no matter who we are, what we are, age, whatever.
We're all idiots. You know?
No, we really are. We really are all fucking. We're all bozos. We all go through some bozo shit, And that's what I tell people. I'm like fucking. So it doesn't matter. I don't care how old you are. You can be fucking 14 or you can be 41. Like what a bozo. That was stupid. But hey, like that's part of the human experience. As I say, we're in the school of Earth. We're in here to learn and expand and to grow. So I teach my kids. I'm like, hey, just come to me and just be like, yeah, hey, dad, dude, I did this dumbass shit. Like, cool. Like, and I ask my kids, like, I ask them. I'm like, so what were your thoughts on that shit? Like, Did they feel like that was the smartest thing in the world, or whatever? And my kids often would be like, nah, like I don't know why I did that. I did this, I did that. I was like, all right, cool, like I get it, and I tell them like situations I was in or whatever. And because of that, my kids aren't on the streets doing a bunch of stupid shit, you
Yeah,
know?
because they know that they have someone to come talk to, and that won't judge. No, that won't like ostracize them or fucking crucify them for making a mistake. You know.
Yeah. Yes. And that's what I tell people is like, but if you're that fucking parent that's like, nope, 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 you got to be perfect, you got to do this. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Well, guess what they're going to go do? They're going to go do heroin tomorrow and they're going to come home and be like, hey, dumb, fucking, that's why I did it because you were talking about shit to me. Don't do that. Like, let them be, you know?
Well, well, that's a good concept because the more you try to control, especially young people, but people in general, the more rebellious they'll be.
Fuck yes. Hey, that goes back to Taoism, and you and I have talked about that. I follow that book by Wayne Dyer, and it's the Living by the Tao, and Taoism is like that's what it is. Like Lao Tzu in the Tao said that the more rules you create, the more rule breakers you build. You know, and it's true, right? I mean, like fucking like I know for me, I mean, I've always been a fucking gypsy spirit, so I'm like, look, you tell me not to do something, I'm like, really? I'm like, all right, and fuck you, and I'm gonna go do it anyway. I'm gonna go do it tenfold. Because I want to fucking go and like do my own thing. Like, tell me not to do something. I'm like, fuck you, And so, no, that's what I'm saying. It's like, but that's the thing though. It's like, and if you don't do that, if you're not like me and you're go break free, like those are the people that end up having all this repressed shit because they're living a life that they don't want to live. you know I was told I can't do this shit, so I'm over here balled up like I just want to go and make a porn, but I'm not going to do it because I'm fucking. You know what I mean? I mean, like whatever it is, right? I mean, like whatever it is. I mean, that's an extreme example. Hey, I don't give
All right, Brian. All right, all right. No one's judging you.
a No, I'm saying you can put that on there, but I'm just saying it's just funny because, like I said, because people will do shit because they feel so repressed,
It's kind of like
and
out of spite.
yeah, yeah, and they'll hide shit, they'll do things and they'll hide shit, and you know, and then all of a sudden they tell their fucking pastor dad that they've been, like doing porns for the last 2 years. Who knows, right? I'm like, what the fuck, you know? You know what I mean? And it's like, come on, man, like fucking, like let them be who they are, like let them be who they are. I just think that we should all be free to be who we are, and as long as you're not harming somebody, of course. So
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Because like even with like even if you don't have teenagers and you're parenting little kids, it's evident even with little kids. It's like the more you try to like control them, the more they get pissed off. They're just like, no, I don't want to do it. Leave me alone. Blah, 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 blah. And
yeah,
it's like, all right,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, but there has to be left and right limits, of course, because you're trying to teach them, right and wrong. And like you said, right and wrong is not always black and white.
it's very open to interpretation.
I think it's a very gray area depending on the
Yeah,
scenario.
yes, because it's very open to interpretation, and I think that people are like, this is right, this is wrong, this is white, this is black, and I'm like, really? Because what I've learned in multiple situations, but like say the Buddhist way, there's a middle ground, there's a healthy middle ground to everything in the Buddhist way, right? And so there is no like to the Buddhist, there's no like, oh, this is great and this is wrong. It's like they try to teach you like fucking find that healthy balance, right? Like be spiritual but be human. Like there's both, you know. Um, and I actually think that fucking, it's kind of funny. Think about it. Like I don't know, man. Like you look at like you question like a lot of things. you go back to like the Bible and Jesus and like the Jesus in the Gospel of John, and Jesus is over there like at the wedding, and he's over there like, oh, just get more good wine and blah blah, and everybody's like having drinks and doing all this shit, right? But then at the same time they're spiritual, right? But if you fucking talk to some of these people that are like super religious, they're like, I can't believe you like to drink. You're a fucking you're a drunkard. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Like in the Bible, it said, oh no, that's not what he said. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like fucking. So it's all perception of people. It's all perception.
Yeah.
You
Like
know.
uh like it's not just Christians either. It's
No,
fucking
no, I'm not. I'm not
everybody.
trying. Like I said, I have nothing against any religion. I just am trying to like just get people to think. But I know what you're saying though. Yeah.
But no, like we had someone who was interested in coming into our business, and it's a gym, and they were like, and they're Muslim, but like I guess in their sect of Islam, like they wanted us to like guarantee that another man wouldn't see them
What?
because of their belief. And
Mm,
I'm like, and they got mad, dude. They got fucking pissed off. And this is in like communication with text, not like phone calls or in person. But like, I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking I'm not gonna do something to appease you just because of your fucking beliefs.
yeah. No.
Like in any business, I'm not gonna adhere to one person's beliefs, and I don't give a fuck if they leave a bad review or some shit like, oh, they didn't cater to me because I believe in something that I expect everyone to honor or whatever. It's like, no, motherfucker, that's not how life works. And that's the same. That's not even in business. That's everything.
Yeah.
It's
No.
like don't expect us. Don't expect anybody else to cater to your beliefs either. You know what I mean?
No shit. Yeah.
Like how fucking programmed are you that you fucking want other people to just accept and change what they do because of what you believe? It's like, no, that's not how life
But
works.
that's what you just said it. Like, how programmed are those people, right? I mean, fucking like, they are so programmed to believe that even you are supposed to be like, oh no, this is the way we do it. It's like, no. Like, I don't give a fuck if you tell me I'm supposed to wear a napkin on my fucking lap every second. Like, I'm not gonna fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, no, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, but that's what like a lot of people believe. Like, they think that, and and it's unfortunate to me. It's unfortunate.
It
Like,
is.
it is 100% unfortunate because I'm like, dude, you were taught that this is life. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so what are your thoughts? Like, what does your spirit tell you? You know, that's one of the things that I learned as I continue to grow was and is like, what does my spirit feel good with? Not what does this religion tell me, not because I was a Catholic, not because I was a Christian, not because any of these things. Um, it's like, what do I feel? What does my heart feel settled with? Right? Not because, not in the ego sense where it's like, oh well, fucking I can do this because I can be an asshole. No. Like, literally, like, what is my fucking, like, what does my soul feel good with? And it's crazy when you like go into that aspect and you're like, holy shit, like, I feel good with this. Like, I feel good with this connection to God and to all these things. And um it has nothing to do with religious bullshit, you know? And they're telling me fucking give them money and do all this shit. Like, bitch, I'm paying your wage, motherfucker. You know? And I'm like, nah, dude. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Nah, that's not what it's about. Like, I'm about here to connect with my God, which is all of our God. But yeah, it's just, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
Crazy.
like I think you would agree. Like I fucking can't stand people with a sense of entitlement.
Oh no, yeah,
You know,
fuck.
it's like, man, I think like we talked about that rebellious spirit inside of us.
Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
like that's just another form of control, dude. It's like, nah, fuck you. Like this is how things work, or like I'm not gonna favor one or the other. I'm gonna be fair across the board. Like I'm not gonna fucking cater to you just because. XYZ or like,
Yeah.
man, it just bothers me. It's like like, but it's ironic because those people are also in a way speaking from their own ego when they expect people to cater to them, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then
yeah.
it and then it's like, um it's just another form of control.
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
it's like, so how much growth do you have to do if you're someone like that, where you're like, everyone has to believe what I believe and cater to me and fucking blah blah. And that's how you end up harming more people than doing good.
Well, no shit. Because you believe that everybody's supposed to think the way you think, right? I mean, and dude, as I've grown spiritually, and I know my mind is open so much, and I talk to people about certain things that I see or believe or whatever. Um, and I know like some of these folks still have their old ways of belief, and that's fine. Like doesn't matter. I don't tell them like, "Oh, hey, retard, listen to what I'm saying." It's like no. I'm like I'm like fucking no. Like if you still believe your way, go for it. Have fun. Like this is just what I see. And it's funny though. It's like it's kind of funny because you see the ones that have the old school beliefs, and they look at me like I'm fucking speaking fucking Japanese. It's like what the fuck is he doing? And it's like, yeah, I'm just because I don't live the way I used to live. Like I opened up my mind, and yeah, it's amazing when people, right? It's like because fucking they're so conditioned, so they're like, nope, it's the one way I believe. That's it. I think you're a devil. You're a devil. You're the devil. You're Satan. It's like, no, bitch, I'm not
You
Satan.
got tattoos and you drink beer? Oh, you're fucking the devil. Oh my god.
You have tattoos and you smoke a little tweed and you fucking drink a little bit. Yep, I'm pretty sure that you're not right. Pretty sure you're not right. And it's like, yeah, well, yeah, okay. Well, you're over there jacking off to little boys' porn, so fucking, you know. Sorry, I know. That was very blunt, but hey, this is true though.
I mean, hey, there's some people that fucking do it. It's not any
Yep,
news to anybody,
yep, that's what I'm saying.
unfortunately.
Yeah, no shit. I'm just
But
saying.
but yeah, like, that's an interesting concept, and sadly, it's normally true. Is that the people who are the most like set in their ways with shit like that are the ones who fucking fuck around the most.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh
hypocrite.
yeah. Oh dude. Hey, and this is what I try to tell people. Like, I try to. I mean, I don't try to convince anybody, but I guess I just like I express it and I tell people like so you read the Bible, right? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, so who are the shittiest people in the Bible? The fucking religious ass fucking like fucking those fuckers that were just like, hey, this is the way you're supposed to do it all. And Jesus told them, like, yeah, fucking you're the bozos. Like, I'm not trying to hang out with you guys. And that's why I try to tell people. I'm like, so why do you have the Pharisees that were fucking hypocritical as fuck, and you guys are over here trying to be like, oh no, we gotta do this. Like you're basically you're saying that Jesus was putting the rules like they were, and he wasn't. Like, what the fuck? Like, what's wrong with you guys? You know?
Yeah,
That's what I don't get. I'm like, that's what I fucking don't understand. I'm like, how do they not see that? Like, I don't know. It just makes no sense to me. So I don't know.
yeah. I think it just has to do with people's interpretation
Yeah.
and programming, like we talk about, and fucking just like, oh well, this is how it worked. So this is how we have to live our life for the next 2,000 years.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, no, dumbass. Think for yourself for a second.
Oh shit.
God damn, bro. But
No.
yeah, I don't know. It's just we just need to. I like I have like I just feel like more and more people are waking up to bullshit,
Oh yeah.
and things are, and yeah, it might get a little crazy before it gets better, but I feel like overall it's gonna be fine.
No, yeah, for sure. I mean, like they say, the Great Awakening. I mean, I really do believe it's happening now, and I believe that most people, not most people, but a lot of people, are waking up and seeing beyond the veil, you know. And so that's why we have so many questions now. That's why we have so many people like, what the hell is going on? Like, what is this bullshit? Like, no shit. Like, you know.
Well, yeah, it's just like when you're talking about. I was actually having this conversation earlier, and it's like the shit with P Diddy, fucking leaving the or trying to get on a private jet and leave the U.S. because the feds are
So,
after him and all this shit. And
so
it's
what
like,
was he?
dude, huh?
So, so what was his deal? He was touching little boys. What the fuck was this
I
motherfucker
don't
doing?
know. I don't know if it was that. I don't know if that's a part of it. But there's been a bunch of shit going around about sexual assault and all this other crazy shit. But what you just reminded me of is that things like we talked about a little bit earlier is that things are starting to crumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the fucking people who've had all the power and money and wealth and fucking doing whatever the fuck they want. When you talk about karma, hey buddy, you reap what you sow,
Yeah.
you know? Or like
Yep.
that quote I shared, the your own bad energy will be your undoing. Well, hey, all the shit in the government, all the shit with celebrities is starting to crumble because and now like you said, the veil is being pulled back and everybody's like, what the fuck's going on?
Well, the veil's being lifted, and now all of a sudden people are like, "What the fuck? Like, this shit doesn't make any sense." Like, you know, and like that, like, yeah, like you said, like, you know, the people that everybody thought like, "Oh my god, they're fucking like doing so good." Yeah, that shit's fucking crumbling on them. And it's like I tell people, that's why I said, that's why I said it for fucking years. Like, I don't even know how many years they said. But I said that same fucking saying. I was like, Rome didn't fucking crumble in a day, but it fucking crumbled. And like that motherfucker, same thing with our fucking country. What's happening, right? It's crumbling. I mean, like I told you, it was like it's all the bullshit structure is built on is fucking coming out from underneath it now. So now everybody's like, oh shit, what's going on? Yeah, yeah, dumb motherfuckers, you know. And that's what I'm saying. It's like that's the point, you know. And that was the same thing like back in the day with Rome. Like, you know, Rome was built on fucking greed and bullshit and it fucked up, you know? And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know. People gotta see that shit. That's funny. I didn't even know any I've not heard anything with the whole P. Diddy thing, but God knows with that motherfucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it seems like it's fucked up, but at the same time things come to light for a reason, you know? So
Oh yeah. J Lo's like, thank God I didn't marry that. I didn't stay with that motherfucker. That
um,
dirty little fucking dude. Yeah, who knows, man? Like I'm telling you, these people, man, it's just so crazy. It's like, jeez Louise.
yeah, it's just oh, it's all gonna be fine. It's just it's just kind of it's
It
just
is.
kind of funny. It's just kind of funny to like when you think about like for me when I think about growing up and you think about celebrities growing up and shit. You're like, oh my god, I want to be famous like them. And now like that saying like never meet your heroes is just like fucking hitting hard. It's like okay, well,
Yeah.
like all this shit from when I was a kid, like oh Britney Spears, she's famous, and all these people are famous, and everybody's fucked up. You
Dude,
know what I mean? And it's like what the fuck?
that's the point though. Like, I try to tell people all the time. I'm like, that motherfucker you were looking at, that you were like, oh my god, they're doing so good. Look at the train wreck of their life. You know, like their life is a fucking train wreck. And I'm like, dude, I don't care how much money they had. They're a fucking mess. Like, I don't care if you have $5 billion in the bank, but you're fucking like miserable as fuck, crazy as fuck. Like, you know, you're fucking sticking bananas in your asshole. Who knows? I got you know, fuck, you know? I mean, you know? I mean, goddamn, who knows, right? I mean, jeez. And these people are just like, oh yeah, they're great. I'm like, no, bitch, they're not great. Look at their life. They're a wreck, you know? It's like, jeez. Seriously, dude. It's like just crazy.
Well, what's
It's
that thing? What's that thing? They'll worship false idols. You know?
yeah, yeah. It's like fucking those. It's like fucking those the fucking people from the Jersey Shore thing. It's so funny because it's like fucking they still have that shit going on now, and I'm just like, and I remember fucking training this guy when I was still living in North Carolina, and he was in the military, he's in the army, and he's from New Jersey, right there where they're from, and he like fucking was on the on the boardwalk when they were like recording them and all this shit. He's all, dude, we can't stand those motherfuckers. He's like, they're a bunch of fucking idiots. And I'm just like, yeah. And I'm like, look. And those guys, like a lot of them, their lives are train wreck. Like fucking, like, you know, a lot of them, like fucking, this, that, the other. It's like, yeah, bitch. That's what I'm saying. So, trying to say, man, people don't get it. People do not fucking get it.
I feel like a lot more people are starting to.
They are, yeah. People are waking up now.
Because, like,
Well, they even said like fucking. I think I heard um, a year or maybe more ago, whatever it was, that they said that fucking like even the like I guess popularity of Hollywood has like gone down so much, like people don't even give a fuck about it anymore. So
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, I mean, even if you take away all the fucked up shit, right? Even if you take all that away, there's no more creativity. It's all just remakes and
yeah,
fucking same shit, different year.
yeah,
It's like, oh, we're gonna remake Willy Wonka. We're gonna remake this and remake that. It's like, why don't you come up with some shit that's original? Like, there's
they,
no more originality. There's no more art anymore. It's just the same fucking cookie cutter bullshit all the time.
yep, because they don't
And
have that anymore.
huh?
I say because they don't have any fucking originality anymore. Like fucking, it's a done deal. That's the thing. Is like I remember like even like I think I was talking to mom about that a while back. I was like, they don't even have any original movies to come up with anymore. Oh, the same shit, you know?
Yeah, it's us. Like, it's, we talk about deeper aspects of things, and to me, that's just an aspect of, like, well, now that we know what we know about Hollywood, it's like, well, evil can't create; it can only destroy. Kind of makes me
Yeah,
think about that concept. I'm like, that's interesting. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or even I think also with that, there's like nowadays there's a lot of agendas behind a lot of entertainment type stuff.
Well, shit, I look back on it, and I don't know if I ever said this on any of our podcasts, but I've said this in many other conversations I've had. I said, I look back on certain artists and certain things. It's like, fucking like so like Aaron Lewis with Stained when he fucking like came out and did that song Country Boy, and he said, it's been like he said, it's been 12 years since I sold my soul to the devil in LA, and like he
Yeah,
fucking was fucking like did his shit like just to get that fucking like to get that contract. And then it was like Tupac. I always tell people all the time, I was like, Tupac was a natural fucking artist. I said, and fucking like he had that moment, and then like he did a bunch of shit, and he made a bunch of songs like to because of fucking Suge Knight and all them, and like fucking like to make him money. And then he had that one point where he was like, I'm done. And he on his own, like he just because his mom said how he was always like fucking like I just want to make a difference. And so then he started to fucking like make songs that were like fucking speaking out. And what happened? He got killed. Like they were like, oh, get rid of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I'm saying. It's like it's always been like that, dude. It's like fucking look at Hollywood, look at fucking artists, look at any of them. Like you want to make a difference? Yeah, we're gonna kill you. Like yeah, you'd be done. You know. So
yeah, it's interesting, very interesting, I would say.
yeah. Oh, humans. What a bunch of amazing fucking, you know?
Well, it
Jeez.
all happens for a reason.
It does. No, absolutely. For sure. That's why I say everything has a purpose. Everything has divine purpose. Divine time, divine purpose. So,
But did you want to say a wee prayer before we get off of this? Good sir.
yeah, for sure. Yep. So, thank you, God, for this time. Thank you for our ability to connect to everyone that we possibly can. Thank you for speaking through us, to us, and using us. I ask that this message gets out there and touches anyone's heart that it's supposed to touch. We thank you for this day, this moment, this night, and for everything that is to come. We thank you and we love you. Amen.
Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you on the next one.